America turns 250 next year. We're celebrating in We the People that ripe old age with a tradition that honors some people that have done some living themselves. Boston Post cane tradition, that began in Maine on August 2nd, 1909. Publisher Edwin A. Grosier began distributing gold-headed ebony canes to New England towns, including many in Maine. Each town presented its cane to the oldest living male resident. That later included women, starting in 1930. When they died, it was to be passed down to the next oldest living resident. As of the 2010s, over 227 of these historic canes remain in Maine towns, continuing the tradition. This one is from Orrington around Christmas 2023, when resident Josie Quimby was given the cane. Until tomorrow, I'm Brian Sullivan.